Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to the Blob. So one thing that I would notice here is that because the Blob changes his color based on what color he is, you really don't have a lot of core advertising you can do as far as characterization. Like, it would be very easy to assume that the red blob is different than the yellow blob, is different than the blue blob. So, how would you fix that? You'd probably make a character that was consistently one color. I guess we are going to be able to unlock one new song every level we do. Like, if he was mostly blue and then had a stripe of red, orange based on his paint, that might be helpful. Now, I'd say looking at this cutscene as far as monotony in a working in a cubicle job, is probably not that relatable for the little kids that you should be targeting for this game, since it is a fairly simplistic game. Now, I don't know how hitting white and black at the same time is going to end up with rainbow colors, but whatever. So these are the captured, what were they called? Radicons? Radians, I think is what they were called. So you get this kind of slow loading that I assume on the original hardware of the Wii, this was all to hide a loading section. But weirdly, these hints don't actually pop up until I move the left stick in a general direction. So it is just giving me a lot of just like hints if I want them. You also see an issue. Nice to meet you, Blob. I'm Biff. Do we not already know Biff? On the muscles for the color underground. We've been waiting for a hero to come along and turn the tables on the inked invaders. I'm going to teach you how to fight back. Okay, so there is going to be some more gameplay mechanics. Good. Because they seemed a little simplistic. Those are Inky's Blob. They're about to beat up that gradient escapee. Let me teach you how to smash them. So hold down the left trigger to target an Inky. Press A to slam him. Release and hold again if you want to change targets. Do I understand? Yeah. Using a check mark there, maybe not necessary. Now, while cubicle jobs are often classified by the cubicle, interesting. There are a lot of scenarios though where in the long run having cubicles is better than not having cubicles. Like, there's been a long push for like open floor plan, everybody working at a table in some work situations, and that really can lead to a lot of distraction. Depending on what your job is. Like, if it's a job where you are sitting around doing nothing, then sitting around the table and hanging out with people works most of the time, until all of a sudden you start to like not enjoy hanging out with your coworkers, which there's a decent chance of that eventually happening. Like, ideally everybody would like to have an office. And even in creative aspects, if you were, say, a group of artists or something, you're going to have 2 or 3 people that you want to actually collaborate with on a single piece of art, on a single project. You're not going to want to have a table of 5, 6 or more people. Man. Coloring these boats is way more difficult than it should be. So we're gonna have like a challenger. We're gonna transfer uptown from ship to shore. Ink must be using these boats to control our waters. Paint them all beautiful blue. That should scuttle those little Inkies. Alright, so as soon as you hit the water, you're just kind of out of luck. I'd say a big part of this certainly is just the fact that this jump that the Blob has is not that far of a jump. And it doesn't seem like you really gain a lot of distance if you have like momentum. I cannot believe I actually succeeded at that. Remember, we have a whole like speedrun aspect to this game in which you're supposed to run through levels. It's weird that you knock things down also, and it's kind of weird how it decides some things can be colored but the ground itself isn't colored. This is the Uptown District Blob. It's used to be a place of music and good timers. Now I.N.K.T controls its banking and finances from this area. Radiant musicians have been forced to become gradient accountants. You'd almost think that you would make a player versus player thing. Raising the color energy around here will make your way across the bridge. Yep. But who would really want to play as the gradients? So if you were going to go with some kind of online player versus player aspect, you would probably want to probably want to have different teams that are different colors, like a red team, yellow team, blue team. I find it very strange that things are just getting knocked over and broken so much. There are other games that are Wii games. I couldn't name it, but I know there's one where you are kind of just running around for a destructible environment. Just trying to break as many things as possible. I'm sure that's what the first part of this pitch probably was, is that this would be a game with a lot of destructible environment elements. A tip I can certainly give to anybody who's new to the working environment, and honestly I think a lot of people don't even get this if they've been working a job for a long time, is try to minimize your interaction with people in general as much as possible. Now if you're a checkout person behind the cash register, that's not going to be much, but in particular minimize your interactions with co-workers, because you're never going to get above a certain plateau of positive interactions with other coworkers. It's only going to just either maintain a decent professional relationship, or it's going to decline into a level of unprofessionalism one way or another. Either it's going to be hostility, or it's going to be flirting, or further, both of which eventually is going to lead to unwanted attention of some kind. So if you want to stay around as long as possible in the job, stay hidden in the shadows, and be easily forgotten. Which is exactly the opposite of what they say, is that you should make yourself look like you're the best employee ever and buck for a promotion. But the truth is, these days, you're not likely to ever get a promotion based on that. So that's really just kind of a myth. Probably was pretty much a myth even decades ago. Of course, that's talking about career advice in a painting game. Blog, can you go slam that? Wait a minute, you already have. New challenges are available. Interesting. So we just had already done challenges, and now that just unlocked new challenges. Now, weirdly, this looks like something I should be able to destroy, but it's not there. Please paint these propaganda towers for 30 blue points. Sounds a disgrace. Alright. Got it. Now we can hit it. See, clearly there's supposed to be a kind of weird it turned green, even though I was using blue paint. Let's grab that time. Let's see what this do. Let's work on the uptown. The blocks of buildings behind me in Ink is an inked typing pool. I remember when I was at charming collections of coffee shops and beauty salons, paint every building in the block yellow, bring back the good times. Alright. So that actually wrecks the diversity I already had here. So the challenges are fighting each other. Yeah, the thing I feel like you're going to run into here, and this is probably the case for a lot of games, is that there's just not going to be that big of a opportunity for more content. You're going to have maybe one sequel that you could make for this game, and then you're going to run out of ideas. Like, particularly since you already have red, green, and blue in the secondary colors, you can't get into any more colors. You'd have to think of new mechanics, certainly, like being able to hold water and erase a certain color, or ink things. Even Splatoon kind of suffers from that idea, in that Splatoon 1 and 2 are fairly similar in their gameplay mechanics and ideas, because they had, for the most part, already figured out what works and couldn't think of anything new. When Inky took over this place, they placed 100% tax on all forms of entertainment. Hit the ink tax office with a refund of 50 paint points. Purple paint points. Alright. So I need a blue. I don't know if I have enough paint points for this. Yeah. I don't. Let's see if I'm getting paint points. For like all of this. I guess that means the game can get fairly difficult later on. Challenge completed, and then a little bit of time, and now we've unlocked the gate. We can move on to the next section. Yeah, I'd have a really hard time trying to figure out what the Blob 3 or 4 would be. There's probably been enough of a gap that if you were to reboot the Blob series, you could make much larger areas, but it would be bigger areas with the same kind of gameplay mechanics. I could see this guy has skates on, so if I could get skates or get any kind of upgrades or unlockables in this first game, that'd be great. Good to see you again, Blob. I'm scouting ahead for you and show you the best ways to get past Inks. Biff is keeping his eyes on the Inkies in the town square. I've lit some marker flares to show you the way. Get down there as quickly as you can and the Ink won't know what's coming. So this is straight up a race. Okay. Whoops. And if I miss a path with this floaty mechanic, you're gonna have to work your way back. This area has a lot more billboards, so they basically, I think, expected you to not find the billboards in the first level. These 2 blocks contain music bars and dance halls. Now all I can hear is the tapping of gratings chained to adding machines. Bring back the scene. Blob, paint the buildings green. How do we get green? Yellow and red would be orange, right? So it must be yellow and blue. Now inherently there's a different system if you're programming red, green, blue values in a computer than there is if you're mixing paints. And I would assume that this is using the paint mixing additive colors, not a computer red, green, blue. Neither systems are particularly, in my opinion, good. There we go. People printing and such have pretty much jumped to the cyan, magenta, and yellow color palette, and that's what you get with like ink printers as a way of mixing and making colors on top of the red, green, blue. What I'd really like to see here happen is for you to get an ability where you just become rainbow, and every object you touch after that point is a different color, recycling between all the possibilities. And I don't really think there's a lot of value in having hit all of that. See, I don't even know what that is that I just collected. Now I'm out of paint points. See, this is an example of really just fixing the ground. Let's see what this wants us to do. Our uptown radar is designed to hit ink where it hurts. This is their economic powerhouse, the Bank of Ink. Make a deposit of 50 red points. So find a bunch of red. Trying to hit things to get the paint points up. And then we'll hit that, and then we'll get red. It does seem like if you are going to try and speedrun these kind of levels, though, you are going to have a really good process to keep your paint levels high, which is in direct contrast to the plan of trying to have entire parts of the buildings painted and to increase your paint levels. I'm only going to be able to go so far against these walls before I run out of paint. When I touch these little guys, that doesn't count against our paint reservoir. It's interesting, you're also seemingly able to paint things on the street. If you zoom around them enough. And I guess that is the question, is should you, on your first playthrough, take it nice and slow and try and paint 100% of everything, or should you just rush through it and hope for upgrades? And I guess the question in part comes down to, what does it look like when you re-enter a level? Are you entering the world as it was, or are you resetting it when you re-enter a level? Because if you're just resetting it, then that would work fairly well. But if you're having to go through the entire hassle of starting over. But also, if you re-enter a level, then that kind of implies you're... did I get everything? No, I didn't get the billboard. It kind of implies that the timers don't matter. Shops and blocks were once filled with the latest street fashions. Now they sell nothing but gray pants, gray shorts, and gray ties. Paint all the blocks all red. Bring back some style. Ugh. Okay, now we're purple. things. I didn't even really see there. Some kind of mode where the color went back in to its appropriate color and showed a very bespoke, artistically placed and colorized world would visually appeal more. Certainly, this is a little monotone in my setup here. Because of the way the game is going to play. Yeah. I can try and add a little bit of diversity here and there with color, but I can only get so far with that. We still have major problems with camera angles. Just really can't see where I'm supposed to be or what I'm supposed to do. There's so many billboards this level. Undoubtedly, I'm going to miss something. These tall buildings once contained Chroma City's radio stations. They were closed the day they banned all music, but the DJs are still trapped inside pink blocks. 2 blocks in blue and purple, and let the music be free. Have to jump high to reach every thing. Okay. Blue. Whoops. It does feel like these challenges may get a little bit more complicated. There's a whole nother thing there over here. It does seem like getting higher up may be beneficial. What's funny is, if you get far enough away, the color kind of fades. That's not something I would expect. Certainly is that far off in the distance, it really doesn't manage to have even a solid color, and in some places it gets less textured at least. I guess at a certain level the difference here is, would you prefer structured artistic painting, or do you prefer the random artistic creations that you might get from a little kid finger painting? This definitely feels like this is a little kid finger painting game. And certainly, I'll point out that it's obviously not really capable of handling tight artistic painting of the world. But the creators of the game certainly could have done that. Interesting, no little secret there. Well, I thought there would be. There's our challenge. Propaganda tile fills the air with dull speeches. We used the sweet music when it was the Radiant Funk Tower. Flick the switch Blob with 30 yellow paint points. Whoops. So these towers are also going to be platforming challenges. So you're almost getting something like the Assassin's Creed towers, where the challenges would be to reach higher and higher places. The main difference there, I would say, though, is Assassin's Creed, at least in its early days, was designed to only be a minor challenge as far as climbing up to locations, and nowadays I'm not sure Assassin's Creed really cares about you climbing to high spots at all. There's certainly a lot of games, even today, that have climbing missions. But without being able to pan the camera up and down, like, all I can do is left and right. So even if I'm at a high spot, I can only see so far in the direction. I think that's enough progress. It's kind of hard to hit all of these if you wanted to do that. See, that would be my concern, certainly, is just, are you going to have to run around and hit every little thing you got 100%, or is it really more of a case that there's a 120% worth of stuff and the 100% marker is not accurate? And see, you also run into a question here, is the Blob trying to paint things in to be colorful, or is he trying to destroy safety equipment that might be very helpful for the Radians? Because this can't just be a pure anarchy game. Despite how many players might want to play it that way, it's not going to be kid-friendly. The statue of Inky on your left, Blob, it needs a facelift. Just over the bridge is the Ink police station. We need to stop them sending reinforcements. So we're just getting a full guide. Beyond that is our major target, the Ink propaganda center. Let's put an end to their colorless lies. Blob, I'm going to show you a zip jump. We can call them Z jumps for short, and I assume that would be for the Wiimote Z button. I've gone around the area and added Z jump markers to places you can Z jump to. Use them to get around without being seen. Go and give it a try. Roll into a Z jump marker behind me. Roll into the Z jump marker. Hold left trigger to lock on, press A to Z jump, release and press again to target the next Z jump. Keep jumping quickly, and if you're too slow you'll fall off. Okay. So. get to this point, and this point. And then, what am I supposed to do after that point? I guess just was supposed to fall down. See, I could sit here and try and hit all these cars, but I bet these are infinitely spawning. And I don't know if they're really adding anything to the value. Let's see. The Ink covered Chroma City with the black and white billboards. Lucky. It only takes one blast of any color to change them into something more happier. Take the Z jump and paint the 3 billboards above the bridge. Oh, this is really more difficult than it seems. I've ended up going somewhere completely different. So, what I'm questioning here is if I'm actually in danger of being attacked and overwhelmed in any way. By, like, enemy ink people. Yeah, I really wouldn't even have a good way of knowing how to get back to where I was. So, retrying the challenge here works for me. You can also see the balloon. Pressing a lot of buttons there. Right trigger. You got it. Right trigger just at the right time. The challenge is available. So there's like a whole secret section down here that you would be unlikely to have paint reach though. It feels to me like there is definitely a move here to try and like have some kind of infinite color mode. So the colors do stay colored, which would mean you are going to be asked to color in all of them. I'm literally stuck. I don't think that intentionally was meant to help me move faster, but it did have that interesting side effect. Let's see. Ink continues to bombard the gradients with their hideous advertising. Match up those marketing signs while I paint all the billboards in the sector. generally speaking, though, if you're going to have a game that gives you challenges, you want the challenge to be the only thing you're really focusing on, and maybe the overall arcing goal of just painting the whole city. The fact that I can seemingly just work on multiple goals at the same time is a little off-putting. Very off-putting that I just succeed. It gives way too much time with no feeling of real threat or need for urgency. I can only speculate on this, but I really would wonder if this game wasn't fairly slow frame rate running on the Wii, and because of that, it just they have to scale everything down, make everything just more of a slow experience. Because I really feel like you could double the speed at which everything was moving in this game and it would just feel better. Before I.N.K.T came, you could always catch a show up in Uptown. I remember seeing the first night of Rydo and Sunset in the theater behind me. Now it's an Inky stock market where gradient brokers buy and sell the same price day in and out. Buy and sell for the same price day in and day out. They'd rather do dancing. Paint this landmark with 50 yellow paint points. Okay. We need yellow. And we need more paint. So, they really just go in circles. I feel like you probably would shake the Wiimote in doing these parts. That was one nice thing about the Wiimote, is that the waggleness, although almost always a gimmick, could be an interesting gimmick compared to other controllers, which just would have you smash the A button or X button or Y button, smash some button. Which, yeah, with the Wii no longer being developed for, a lot of game developers have just resolved to going back to a bunch of button mashing instead. Quick time events that maybe don't need to exist at all. This large structure behind me, the police station, for a second police station, have equipment that can track your movements. Once they detect you, they'll keep sending out Inkies to chase you. You can shut down for 50 yellow paint points. I guess the enemies that they're sending out are just through those little tubes on the left and right. Now, does this mean we're gonna get more help now? Because that is, I guess, one thing you could do is that you could have assistant characters that would catch the small things you missed, just little small blob as AIs. Sun does not reach these poor buildings under the bridge, Blob. Paint all these buildings facing this park yellow. Compass can help you press A to detect your objectives. Really a nothing task. though. Once again, undoing the art style. So I'd almost feel like it would be beneficial for the game in the second time you enter a level to be told to undo what you've undone. Looking for more buildings that are facing the bridge to turn yellow, and weirdly seems to include all of these. I'd imagine for a Wii game you probably couldn't have a lot of different textures, which they could change the appearance slightly too if there were more patterns. Before Inky came, the block was behind me was filled with camping stores. You could get anything you needed for a trek into the wilderness. Now the gradients inside don't even remember what a tree looks like. Paint all the buildings green to remind them of the beauty of nature. Green, green, green. How do we get green? Yellow. And yellow and blue. Where's the blue? Way over here. It may become the case that more of this starts to happen where you have to go further and further in different directions. Blue, green. You get more of a reward for finishing a challenge the first time, and you don't get any kind of special reward for finishing challenges quickly. Must silence the voice of Ink to paint the top of this propaganda tower with 30 orange points. Red. Okay. There's just no way. You're gonna have to do something like this to do that. Hope you don't bump into anything else that would destroy the color. You know, actually, it seems pretty obvious. I'm surprised I didn't think of this before this point. Like, you have a D-pad on modern controllers. You wouldn't have one on the Wii. So, it would be fairly understandable to have multiple reservoirs. So up on the D-pad would turn you to like red, and then down on the D-pad would maybe turn you to blue, and then right on the D-pad would maybe turn you to yellow, and then left on the D-pad would clear your colors completely. Yeah, a system like that would work fairly well to ensure that you always have the color in the resource, and you could still have color points, but you would just be filling up 3 different tanks. Blob, can you go slam? Wait a minute, you already have. New challenge available. So it does seem like a lot of times you have to slam the bad guys, of which there really aren't that many, before you can defeat the towers. You could not have done this without you, Blob. Here's another propaganda tower. 30 green points. Yep. Increasingly, I'm going to want to just cheat my way through a lot of this dialogue. There's not a lot of motivation here to read all of it when you can just skim the reading and look at the color, since that's all that really matters. Maybe we'll get to a point where you need 30 green points and 30 blue points, and you're having to have multiple colors. Unfortunately, this then comes down to this situation where I've probably done everything here to a reasonable percentage. And yeah, I guess this is how you jump down there with some colors still in you. Stay up there, avoid touching the water. Then you just end up having to wander around, see if there's any challenges left. The street was famous for its jazz club. Some of the finest radiant music musos learn their craft here. Paint the buildings in cool blue for all the hip cats will come out and play. It's supposed to be hip cats. I hope she said blue. So the radians are the small targets. The buildings are the big targets and other things. Billboards and blimps are specialty targets. These cars, weirdly. Like I just don't see how you'd speedrun and paint all these cars, particularly as much as it glitches and gets you stuck on top of them. There's no like border defense here, where perhaps painting around a border would weaken the walls and then you could destroy it. We don't want to slow down the game by having something like that. But yeah, it definitely slows down the game to just have to look around everywhere just to be certain gotten all the challenges. I'm not even sure I've gotten all the challenges, let alone all the buildings. I guess the question is, you could look at progress here. It says we painted 93% of the game, so of the world. We've done 28 out of 45 trees. We missed about 40 radians. We've done all the billboards. We've missed 2 styles. And we've missed 3 challenges. And 1 landmark. So, your first playthrough feels like what's going to happen on each level is that you're going to spend a lot of time and still not get 100%, and then my hope is that you come back for a second playthrough and most of the world would be painted, and maybe you would even go for a higher score as far as color energy, although I'm not sure color energy really matters that much. But then there's going to also be a third speed run in which you're going to have to just move through the level as quickly as possible. Interesting. So, the colors tell me that I guess my radar here could tell me some stuff, and so I could play the game using the radar, be more thorough. Although, question if I can even easily get back. And these little cars that are getting painted are just painting their own special color. Yep. We know exactly that there is little section down there. The question is, can I really reach that section without a lot of hassle? All the trees are going to be, I guess, is on this island hopping. And I am painting the sand too. And these barriers here are actual barriers that are going to stop me from going anywhere. Need color from the looks of it. Found the secret path that goes to underneath the bridge. Want to try it? Bet you can't do it as quick as I did. Follow the microflares. Go. Secret path here is. And miss a flare. It is adding a second each time I touch one of these. Available. may be a case that the compass really only points you towards challenges, though, and wouldn't point you to the one last building or the one last tree that needs to be painted. Which, yeah, that would still be a problem. Okay, Blob, the prof asked me to mark out the way to the police station. Z jumps are the only way to travel. Follow the marker flare. I literally don't have a way of coming down from that. I have to tap the left trigger, I guess. Maybe he said Z jumps aren't the only way. Nope. I just have like plenty of time for everything. Now this paintbrush is pointing me directly towards that. I know that there's buildings I missed, and I know there's more content too, but I wouldn't be surprised if most of the buildings I missed are not behind this door. Heads up, Blob, those are little scouting things are leech bots. Haven't we already seen those? Those are the suckers that'll drain you with color. I would assume is what that said. So these are different types of robots. Don't let them latch onto you. Man, again, it's not letting you press A to continue, so it's just popping up and disappearing. As far as the text, a little too fast. Slamming the leech bot costs 1 paint point. Keep moving and avoid their jump attacks. If a leech bot jumps onto you, it will drain your color. Press A quickly to make the leech bot fall off. So they are arguably tick bots. I would say more than leech bots, if I was going to define them as something. And like, we're ready to go to the next area. Why do I care if I spend a single paint point to destroy them though? You usually have tons of paint. This is the focus of the Uptown Strike, the Ink Propaganda Center. This landmark is stronger than others. You have transformed. You need to hit 3 times with blue, yellow, and red. Each weak point requires 30 paint points. You can do it, Blob. Once you get the party started, the exit pool is just behind you. So I need a decent amount of paint. Sure. We need to find the yellow. Again, the game is really giving you plenty of time. Some of the darker colored items here feel like they aren't colored. Where's yellow when we need it? Guess. Move here. Is to use your compass. you kind of think since you're leaving this line of paint around you, that would slowly drain your paint and possibly even limit you as to how far you can travel. Like, I could see taking an idea like this and making a Minecraft type of game where you start in a central area and then it is randomly generated structures in all directions and 360 degrees, but to travel you have to increase your resources and do a little bit of mining of some sort of resource. To increase your travel distance. If you were to embrace like randomly generated structures and a world that just went on forever, then you would have a game that could be played forever. Which, yeah, that might be a way to take a concept like this and expand it further. Like that one building. Even at that though, I would still heavily believe that you need more gameplay mechanics. But it would be a decent start. Yeah. In comparison, if you took the very early versions of Minecraft when there was no end, there was no redstone, there was no extra blocks. You really were just mining 4 or 5 different blocks. That was a good enough start for Minecraft. And yeah, just coloring things here. In an infinitely generating world instead of a limited 10 levels that have been artistically created. So it does seem to me like I've missed one tree, so it would probably be a nightmare to have to just run around and find the one tree. I've missed probably one group of radians, and I've missed 2 styles. This is just the end of the level. So with the marker here, how much progress are we likely to really be able to do? But there's one tree somewhere. There's almost certainly one car that hasn't been painted. There was one. Kind of feels like there's a secondary group of cars that spawn on this road. Feels like the game doesn't want to give me any more time, but it also feels like you would really be hard pressed to fail any level just by running out of time. We have to keep an eye out for the blimp, because that definitely would be a factor. If there's one blimp that needs to be painted, I almost certainly haven't painted it. Almost got stuck there. Certain things are getting colorized as we make more progress. But if 100% really means 100%, I have to run towards every little thing. It's not going to be particularly fun. Yeah, this is just a great example, I guess, of what it would be like to try and get 100%. Is you're just gonna have to look everywhere and transverse every single section as much as possible. Whoops. I could see potentially having canisters to refill your paint. Just backup reserves of paint. Having something like that would be nice. Now I guess I need to applaud the music. It is incredibly repetitive music, and yet they've done a really decent job of having like a funky upbeat sound to it, so I have yet to get irritated with the vast amount of repetition that's happening here. And you get little variations of when you turn something from black and white to color, so it is adding a music track or a music sample, sound effect, effectively, to add slight variations. But the main beat is just basically the same thing multiple times over and over again. Going further to that side. Yeah, it's wonky on that aspect. So I think I do need to go back up there. Actually be kind of difficult to get back up, which might explain the Z elements. Higher up, and I may only be able to do that by jumping. can't help but feel like the core mechanic here, though, has been thrown out the window as far as painting. Like, there's just no care that you really have to put into the painting aspect at all. Is there any possible way I could hit this blimp? See if we can keep an eye on where he goes. It feels like you're supposed to kind of stick to the walls in the whole process. But it doesn't kind of feel like that helps much. Alright, so where are we on progress now? We apparently have 19 more minutes. We're at 98% finished. We need 6 more radians. We would need 1 more style. This does just feel somewhat unlikely that I'd be able to do that. Not without a compass pointing me towards the one building that I've missed somewhere. A good question certainly to ask here is, what would the reward be for 100%ing that level? Is it going to give me a default 1 extra health, which I probably don't need unless we get into a big boss fight, which, yeah, that is, I guess, a possibility that 1 level would just be a boss fight that was fairly demanding and challenging. Otherwise, I totally would be looking for movement tech, just ways in which I could speed up getting from point A to point B. Wow. The way things are falsely presented from a distance and then smoothed to more polygons later is quite extreme in this game. To the point where I'd have to assume that there was just a much lower draw distance in the game originally. And it's particularly irritating to find that there's just little signs and things that have been knocked over. And that could be the 2% of the whole world that needs to be colorized. What you'd want is a map. And just a full-on top-down map of the world. Unfortunately, there's seemingly no such offering. We know that there's like a tree somewhere we've missed, but I honestly couldn't tell you where it is. And we know about the blimp, which maybe the blimp itself is the 2% remaining section. But I've really failed to figure out how to hit the blimps. Because you'd think you'd just have like a big jump. there would be a move where you could use the Z when the blimp is in the middle of flying over, and that might be the trick. But it certainly wouldn't explain how you hit the blimp, how you were supposed to hit the blimp in the first part of the game. So, holding left trigger and jumping, by the way, is there's that one tree. So we've got all the trees done. Yeah, holding left trigger and hitting A is how you get stop the cars from taking you for a ride. I would certainly lean to thinking that there's some radians in this early section, or that there's a building block in this early section that I've missed. It'd be hard to really believe that there's much of anything here. So, this feels fully cleared out. Color game. It definitely feels like there might be a strategy to be extremely strict on yourself as far as when you get to a building, but the challenges aren't going to really let you do that on building Blob. Yeah. If you always said, I've found the building block, I'm going to make sure I paint all the way around this building block and paint in all the radians from that building block, that works fairly well. But the challenges are going to definitely point you towards moving from rooftop of one building block to rooftop of another building block. So, I saw that the blimp was over here, and obviously it's not here now, but we could just wait for it. Now what would be very annoying here though is if I get to 99% painted in, and I start to run out of time, I have only like 12 minutes left, or I start a new run of this level at some point in the future and it just resets everything, and that may just be the end of my interest of playing the game. So it means if I started a whole new level and then it was completely reset and nothing was colored in and there's just no help there. See, there's a great example of texture not really colored in, not at a high resolution, just pop in for things that are very, very close to where I am. And weirdly, the occlusion here seems to be based on the direction the blob is looking, not the direction the camera is looking. Because we shouldn't be able to force something to unload as we look towards it. That's exactly what's happening. There is the blimp. Maybe I needed to have been a little bit more on the edge. Suffice it to say though, like it's kind of obvious that I'm only going to have one chance here. And this is... Come on, can we stay on the blimp? The game really doesn't like that. Which that would have been cool. Certainly would have been cool if the blimp gave us a special feature where we rode it and possibly even sprayed paint from it and did like massive amount of coloring. because of it. Yeah, there really is just no telling. There could easily be just 6 or 8 radians that are spread amongst the groups of the other radians that I failed to touch. And then there's just one more style. And we could always increase our color points by just adding more variety. So coming over there and touching that, or touching that, they have multiple colors. It works. But unless there's an actual reason why you're adding diversity in the color palettes or increasing your score, it all seems kind of silly. And as I run around trying to look, I am bumping into other colors and changing what my color palette is. I'd assume this is where the leeches possibly pop up and attack you. Alright, so not quite 100%, but good enough, in my opinion. There is also, I guess, some opportunity here that if he's going into the water and effectively going through pipes, that there could have been some kind of 2D find your way through a maze mini game that could have hid a load between one level and the other, or just some kind of Metroid style morph ball puzzle sections where there might be some extras to find to switch to like a 2D mode. 99% painted, all the landmarks, all the billboards, all the challenges. Time should have been 13:30, which I assume that means that you're supposed to beat the level in 13 minutes and 30 seconds, not that you're supposed to have 13 minutes and 30 seconds left. Although it could be the other way around. We missed one style, we missed 8 radians. We did get the blimp, we did get the trees. So, and that gives us a certain score, and we can see also that gives us a time of how long we spent there, which is 66 minutes and 27 seconds. It's quite a lot. And so this unlocks a story level of downtown, free paint mode of uptown, and a cutscene of uptown, as well as a secret mission called Ship to Ship and a secret mission called Leaps of Faith. So, there's new content at Last Resort. Let's hop in there and see what that looks like. Now, see, we now have like Seaside Roller and Last Resort and Top of the World. So those might be different things. But what I want to do here is just jump in this and see what it looks like. What does it look like when we go into the story mode here? It starts the whole game over again, which severely makes me suspect I don't want to play this. Like, yeah, there's just no progress at all. So, best case scenario here would be to Try and speed run until we can get out of the level. But even if you speed run a level, which in this case you definitely would want to just turn off as many cutscenes and skip as many cutscenes as possible, although I'm not sure how many of those you really can skip. Yeah, I definitely can see why you would want to turn off the tutorial mode. So, if you're trying to speedrun this, I guess the real question is, are you better off, like, rushing for power upgrades, or you just going for the transform engines? All the other playthroughs I've done, I've focused so much on being thorough that trying not to be thorough is a little off-putting. But that has actively allowed for a lot of the gates to be unlocked quickly. Moving on. This has already been a long episode, but since I'm already in the level, it does make a lot of sense to just see what a speedrun really would feel like. But let's say I get this done. Maybe at that point, getting the speedrun done is not good enough either, and you have to get the speedrun done and 100% collection of painting and all the other items that you're potentially trying to paint in. Once you get into these bigger areas, the taller buildings, let's see. not gonna get these tall buildings. It's not super surprising though that the first level would be very tutorial-y. The real problem though, I think from this would come from not being able to unlock your unlock the next section because you just can't paint all the buildings. Like I clearly am just right on the edge of being acceptable enough. Okay. So I'd really like this section here to be filled in enough so I can activate that. Because I think that would give me a boost. But feels like to pull that off, I'd have to do a lot more platforming. Not that it's going to get any easier. And in an effort to move quickly, I am just bypassing a lot of stuff. Definitely feels like there should be just a straight up cheat that you could unlock. Something that would have you spray paint in all directions wherever you go. Basically running against the walls here. Trying to paint the easiest aspects and avoid anything that would be even slightly challenging. Yeah, that's definitely going to play a factor in speedrunning too, is that you probably can't move that fast because you're constantly... Ooh, I may have a hard time getting back up. The sky turns bluer in certain areas. Yeah, I really don't see how you speed up the speedrun aspect by that much because of just the slow nature at which you're going to end up having to play to refill your reserves of paint. And there's still a real slow nature on how he just moves. A modern version of a game like this almost certainly would have some kind of like ground slam thing where you were like doing this all the time to try and get quicker movements. Which, weirdly, that does seem like that might somewhat work. But it is very much a Wiimote waggle feature, if I've ever seen one, in which you're not really focused on, you're just not really focused here on the actual direction you're going as much as you're just locking onto some random thing. Wow, that got really frame ratey. Yeah, and inherently I want to see controlled chaos in video games, even for little kids. I don't want absolute insane random chaos that has no real connection to what the kids are actually doing or intending to do. And that was certainly even back to like Nintendo 64 era and GameCube era. Nintendo increasingly tried to... Oh, I got the blink too. Like Nintendo tried to overemphasize that something would happen when you pressed the A button and severely underemphasize what that something actually was, to the point where a lot of Nintendo 64, GameCube games, and particularly Wii games were just press the A button and watch a cutscene, then press another A button and watch another cutscene. So that was 9 minutes and 20 seconds, which that does give me an interesting thought as to just how fast you'd have to go through this level, which, yeah, pretty much you are going to have to lock on and move. And I don't know if I can really pull it off, even on this first level. And then, if we click here, again, let's see what this looks like. Nope, let's not see what this looks like. We'll consider that later, as far as the new options. Free paint doesn't count. Blob Party still requires multiple people. One more cutscene has been unlocked. But as far as story mode and progress is concerned, I don't think you, unless this new section helps you, I think you really do have to do everything in one run. And it's not like I'm getting achievements for getting the blimp or anything like that, so yeah. The fact that progress doesn't stack seems crazy, and it really makes an argument that probably don't want to try and 100% this game. There's only about 20 achievements overall in the game, so I wouldn't be surprised if all of them literally are around doing just maybe beating a level and then maybe 100%ing a level, but I don't know how you 100% a level while also having to speed run the level. Those two things are just 100% opposite of each other. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to support me further, there's a link down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.